like, I deserve to be here, just like everybody else. I'm going to show you I can, you know, versus the families that are all together that all have like, great, I'm going to be successful. But you don't have to. But that was a hard thing to let go of.
Sue talked about, though, when you're older and you're there and you're asking questions and the younger people are kind of like, you know, shut up or whatever. I had a terrible experience and I ended up quitting a class simply because I went into class and it was a psychology class and computers did something.
Statistics?
No, it wasn't statistics. It was something else with computers and what?
Computers and behavior science.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, okay, it'd been a long time. We didn't have computers when I was, you know, and then here I was back in there. Okay, we get in there and it's the first time we're going to have a test. Well, the computers weren't already on. I didn't even know how to turn them on. I didn't know how to turn it on. And so there was a young girl sitting next to me and I said, how do I turn it on? And she gave me the ugliest look, like, old lady, shut up, you know. And I was so embarrassed. And there was a substitute teacher that day, and so I just was appalled, and so I just got up and left and went to drop the class. Well, when I went back, I had to have the teacher sign the drop card, and he said, why are you doing this? I said, because I didn't know how to turn on the computer, and the girl next to me would not even help me. She just gave me a look like, you need to shut up, you know. And he said, don't drop the class for this. I said, no, I don't know the first thing about computers. I'm going to drop the class. And I did. He thought it was terrible. It was
McDermott?
yes. He's like, don't drop this class. I said, no, I'm going to drop it. And what I did, though, was go and take a basic beginner's class about computers, which he kept telling me, you don't need to do that. You're going to pay extra, and there's no reason for it. I'll help you. But I insisted, so I went and took that class first, and then came back and took the other class, all because one young girl made me feel inferior, which is ridiculous. You know, and I didn't even attempt to go to the person on the left. I was mortified by the person on the right, and I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I couldn't even turn to the person on the left and say, can you help me? I don't know how to turn this thing on, you know.
They might have said no, too.
They might have, you know, but I think, you know, that was in my first semester of coming back. If I had been, you know, in the second or third semester, I would have said, well, you're hateful, and I would have went to the one on the left and said, hey, or I would have went to however many people, because by that time I would have had a little more self-esteem to be able to say, you know, I'm going to ask for what I need to be able to be successful. But at that time I was mortified, and so I just left, you know. But that's what you got to be able to do, is say, I'm not going to let somebody else keep me from getting what I need to, you know, be successful.
And I have something that what Sue had mentioned, and you too, Sean, about the older students feeling that way. I was still in my 20s when I graduated with my undergrad. And so, but I'm still first generation. My sister and I both have degrees. My parents didn't. And my dad got sick and lost his ability to fly his private plane. He worked for this company. So he went back to school, and he had, I guess it was like the third semester in, and he explained that to me, and we were both going to school at the same time, kind of, and I said, I don't know what you're talking about, people don't do that, but he felt that same way, and he ended up actually, my dad and my mom both have degrees now. My dad has 2 undergraduates in history and political science and a master's in history, and my mom has an undergrad in general. So they were older, over 50, started back to school, non-traditional students as well. So it is possible. It's scary. I remember my mom was very scared about doing it, but she did it.
And that kind of brings me to the next thing I want is for you all to give advice, suggestions, anything that you could give to anyone that's in similar situations, which a few of you have already shared some things.
Well, first I want to clear up my motivation for making 4.0. Had nothing to do with myself. At that time, the state was reimbursing tuition, and it was 100% humidity. So, just saying. I'm not that big of a perfectionist, but no.
But there was money on it.
There was money involved.
I didn't know.
100% reimbursement for an A. So it's like I needed the money. I worked for the state. They don't do that anymore.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. I don't know. I guess advice, you know, I mean, just keep your eyes on the goal. And just remember, it's just a season. It might be a long season. And it might be a dry season, however you want to put it. You'll be broke, you'll sacrifice a lot of things. But in the end, once you get done with it again, it opens up a whole new world. You know, getting my bachelor's degree got me the job that I have now. Getting my master's degree got the other job that I have now. And, you know, it just opened so many doors. When I went to go get my master's degree, I was working for DYS, and, you know, people are like, oh, are you going to leave when you get your master's? Are you going to leave when you get your master's? And I'm like, no. You know, and right now, with the state of the state, I mean, my husband's been with the state for 14 years and he's getting laid off. I like to know that if the state wants to lay me off, I've got something in my back pocket, you know, and that's always a really, really good feeling. Or if I ever get burnt out at the job that I have now, which the burnout rate's really high. I only have seven years left to retire, and I still do love my job, although it's a little stressful right now. But you know, it's like I have options, and you know, you see people in jobs, especially, you know, jobs with a retirement benefit, that they get in it and then they have like 10 years left and they're fried. And then they're not any good to anybody because they don't have options. You know, they feel like they're stuck. They can't go anywhere, you know, and I go to work every day knowing that if I ever need to leave or get laid off or whatever happens, it's like I have options, and there's just no better feeling than that in life, to know that you have options. So hang in there. I don't know how we should ask you guys what I'd be interested to know, like, where you guys are in your college careers. And
Yes, and I meant to actually have everyone introduce themselves and kind of tell that. So since we have a few minutes, why don't we go ahead and do that? Can we start with you, Jane?
I'm Jay. My major's in sociology, minor in paralegal studies. I'm senior. I graduate in May.
Yay!
I'm ready to be done.
Yeah.
Got that senioritis?
Yeah, well, it was worse my junior year,
Ooh,
but by
yeah.
the senior year, you kind of improve because you're like, I'm almost done.
Yeah, you
I'm
see
almost
the light
done."
is closer.
Yes.
Definitely.
My name's Sean Cope. My major is criminal justice with a minor in CSI. I'm a sophomore.
Courtney.
My name's Courtney, and my major's criminal justice, and I graduate next December. And I'm a single mom, and I work 3 jobs.
Wow.
And I live in Nevada, so most of my classes are online right now. And I'm looking into getting my master's also. So I was kind of curious. I didn't pick where you got yours.
Central Missouri State.
I'm actually going to go with them to UMKC.
Well, that's actually, so CMSU's, they changed the name.
I know, I don't like it. With all that stuff.
Central Missouri University. University of Central Missouri. That's where I graduated from.
Which, that's my next step. And so I'm doing full-time right now. I've done full-time for the past 4 years. And I'm just going to do bare minimum into my master's program. Take it easy.
I'm Jennifer Lee. I am a junior right now. I'm an accounting major. I pretty much I drive a school bus. I work all the time. I take 21 hours a semester because I have to graduate within 4 years. I also feel that I have to have an A in every class, even though tax really put a kicker in that one. But
Tax
Killing me.
I've gone through the divorce, you know, and had to raise my daughter by myself during this whole time, so I understand where everybody's coming from, trying to get all this done. I feel like I have no life, and I hope that someday that I will. I'm so used to always going that I maybe not let myself at some point, but that's where I'm at.
I have to add that my son wants to drive a school bus while he goes to college.
It works well.
My son wants to ride on the school bus every day.
I'm Andrea, and I'm an accounting major. I also graduate in May, so I'm ready to be done too. I work 2 jobs, and even though I don't have as much going on as, I guess, Jennifer or anybody else, I still feel like I have no life, like social life or anything. So I'm go to school, go to one job, and then go to the next job, and then go home and study and sleep.
And you're first generation college
Yep.
student. Guillermo.
My name is Guillermo. I'm a first generation as well. I'm a second year freshman because I didn't take it so serious my first semester, but
That's okay.
I was a 3 years freshman.
I quit, came back because I was thinking it was.
Just gonna tell you.
I don't have a job right now, but I hope to get one soon because I need some income.
And have you declared a major, or are you still?
Nursing.
Nursing?
Excellent.
And then so
Oh,
I'm done.
Jacqueline.
I'm Jacqueline. I'm a psychology major and considering a JD grad school. I'm rated as a senior. I've been going to college my whole life. And I keep starting and I'll do a semester and then I'll move. Or, you know, I'll get a new job and then I can't go for a while, so then I come back and then those credits transfer. So I'm rated as a senior, but I'm one of those math problem people and I'm still trying to get through the first level of math. And when I finish getting through college algebra, then I can take the remaining 4 courses that I need to graduate with the bachelor's. And then I have to consider living and where I'm going to go, et cetera, in order to go to school. I was a paralegal for 30 years and was planning on being a psychologist when I graduated, and then when I talked to my daughter about what was involved in terms of research and the number of years and what's required in order to do all of that, I decided that at 58 it was probably not something that was really going to be feasible for me. So I decided to go back with something that I know very well. I think that going to be a lawyer, going to law school would be really easy. Only because I already know all that. I've done like every kind of law there is. So it should
Give
be
up the A's.
Yeah. And I don't work. I live off my student loans, and I will have to work if I can get a job when I get out. I'm pay them or die for it. I don't care.
An attorney once told me a C equals a degree.
Very wise.
Yeah, very wise. Wasn't Bob.
Very smart lawyer.
So what other suggestions or advice do you have for our students?
I think my advice would be, and I think kind of goes right into what you just said, and that is that one of my very best friends in the world does not have a bachelor's degree. I think he's an incredibly smart man. I would trust his opinion. You know, he and I talk politics and joke around. He's been my friend since I was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6, 7, I don't know, young kid. And a college degree is not going to validate you. It's not like all of a sudden you have a bachelor's degree, oh, therefore you're smart. You know, it's just the way it is. I think what it means to me is that in the world we live in, everything is so instantaneous. You know, it's like it's an instantaneous gratification. Oh, I'll have one of those, I'll take one of those, I'll do this, I don't want any of those back. You have to set this goal out here, and it takes a long time to get there. It takes a lot of effort. The steps you take are slow. It's, you know, you work all semester and you go, well, you know, there's 15 hours or 21 when you talk. You know, and it takes you that time, and what it says to me about me, what it means to me is that I'm willing to set a goal and work towards it for a long period of time. And then no matter where you go, what you do, nobody can ever take that away from you. I mean, I went to law school and I passed the bar exam, which is like the most horrible thing that anybody would ever have to take in their life. We need to know. But, I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's a lot of work. It is, and that's the same way. But no one can ever take the fact that I went to law school. No one can ever take away what I've learned in those schools, in those classes, or the research, or the knowledge that I obtained. No one can ever take that from me, and that's something that's always here. And so a lot of times I think, sorry, one other thing. While the degree does not make you smarter, sometimes a degree is like a hurdle. If you want to do this, you have to have the degree. It's unfortunate but true. I'll bet if you spent 30 years being a paralegal, I don't know what area of the law, I'll pick one, Social Security disability, don't know the first thing. If she spent 30 years being a paralegal in a Social Security disability firm, I guarantee you she knows way more about it, could represent a client way better than I ever could. But if you want to practice law, you have to pass the bar exam. To take the bar exam, you have to have the degree. And some things, you just have to have that. And it's just the world. It's just the way it works. And so kind of like your ticket. It's the entry fee.
Well, I guess if I had to offer any advice, it would be, if you come across that big stumbling block that causes you to stumble, a lot of you guys are kind of towards the end, except for over here, it's okay. You know, you're a second year freshman, it's okay. You know, it's just a stumbling block. You can get past it and pick yourself up and go on and finish, you know, and it's okay to do that. Sometimes you learn more from life, some of those life lessons that kind of sharpen you and prepare you for what you have coming ahead. Sometimes it's more important than having gone straight through school in 4 years and get a job that you hate for the rest of your life, you know. And so, you know, don't get overly discouraged if it just doesn't happen. Click, 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 and hang in there. And you know, keep your eyes on the goal, and you'll get there. Really, congratulations to all of you for being here today.
I would say sometimes we do what we're expected to do. I know I did. That's why I went to college. Right out of high school, I got a soccer scholarship to Newman University. It's what my dad wanted me to do. I was going to be an elementary education major. It's what they wanted me to do. They all wanted, you know, I guess they didn't come out and say, that's what I want you to do, but it was kind of, that's the path they wanted me to take. I think for people to succeed in what they're doing, non-traditional, first year, it has to be in here, it has to be in your heart. It has to be what you want and the goal that you want to strive for. I went back because I wanted my kids to see that I could be successful no matter what obstacles or barriers or speed bumps came in my way. And I will say this, we survived on WIC, women, infants, and children, food stamps, and our student loans. And we had 2 cars that were paid off, and that's how we made it through. My husband went to school full time. He didn't take nearly the hours I did. I did 15 hours a semester. He did 12. He graduated before I did, but I was third year freshman when I started.
And you did the 2 degrees.
I did 2 degrees, and yeah, I was overachiever. But you know, you have to have that want within inside of you to move forward and to reach your goal. If you don't have that, if your heart's not in it, then you have to take a step back and say, what do I want to do with my life? Is this really something that I want to do? I knew the second early education class I had at Pitt State that I was not going to be a teacher if I was going to have kids. I just was not going to do it. So I think I changed my major 3 times. I changed colleges 4 times. I went to Newman University, Pitt State, Rogers State, and finally ended up at Missouri Southern. So it's just, you just have to have that one and drive in you. So that would be just taking, you know, look at your life and what you're doing and make sure it's really what you want to do.
I would say too that there are lots of people out there that will help you when you face things like those math classes and stuff, because I struggled with that, and you know, I found somebody that was really good at math and could help me and tutored me on my lunch hour, and you know, just going out and keep trying to find the people that will help you and not being afraid to say I need help with something. And you know, if it's turning on the computer or a math class or whatever it is, because there are resources out there, and it's just being able to go out and say I need help with something and keep being persistent enough to keep going and looking for the person that can help you with it. You know, and even if you go the first time and maybe you don't make that connection with whoever that person is there, maybe at the resources they have here on campus, but you find somebody else or something until you find what you need to get the job done, because sometimes that's, you know, all it is making the right connection with somebody, because the person that helped me with the math wasn't through the school. It happened to be another a supervisor at Walmart who just said, oh, I was a math major, you're having trouble with math, well, I'll change my lunch hour to the same as yours and I'll tutor you through lunch. And that's how I made it, you know, because they were able to help me. So, you know, it's just being persistent and loud and saying I need help and keep trying to find the right person. But you know, you have to get over that, because you know, I let myself get in a bind over that computer class just because I was too embarrassed to say, you know, I don't know how to turn this thing on.
Well, can I add to that? As an educator also, I teach college at Crowder online and in class. And use your teachers, you know, as resources. I know when I was my first go around, I wasn't about to go talk to a teacher. Are you kidding me? You know, I would have been so much better off if I would have just got that one point of clarification that I needed to make a C on my paper instead of an F, because I didn't know how to write APA style. You know, because I didn't ask, well, what's APA style? Your teachers really do want to help you, I think, for the most part. And ask them. You know, I think that's a big mistake I made, first generation going through, is I did not ask my teachers or professors or whatever you want to call them. I didn't ask them anything.
I didn't ask them either. I was very intimidated.
And
I
I
didn't feel
was
like I
very
could approach
intimidated. They
them.
would be like, well, my office hours? You know, it's like going to the principal's office, you know? But that's not how they are at all. Now that I am a teacher, I'm like, gosh, I wish they would use me as a resource. And I have this guy in my class, I don't know how old he is. He's very great. And anyway, he's really, I sat down the other night and showed him how to do an assignment on Blackboard. He's like, is that all there is to it? I'm like, that's all there is to it. And so for half the semester, he's been intimidated by this Blackboard assignment, and all he had to do was say, I don't get it. And we sat down, and in 5 minutes, he's like, that's all there is to it? That's it. So anyway, that was my last thought.
Did you have anything else, Beth?
No, they said it all. You know, just stick with it, because it'll be over, and you'll have that degree, and it'll be well worth it. So.
Does anyone have any questions for our guest panel?
I don't really have any questions. I think that a lot of times they talk about the challenges that we face as older students or non-traditional students, but yet they don't talk about the positives that we face. I mean, that we have. You know, we're more outspoken. We know about life. We've lived through it. You know,
Not afraid to ask questions.
I use that. I ask those questions, and I use everything that I can to try to get myself through school. So I think to me, I don't think it is a bad thing. I think of it as a plus.
No.
And I care more about my schooling. You know.
The only other comment I was going to make is that I consider myself to be an example to all the young students. Like, I was walking to class one day and there was 2 people behind me, and the guy says to the girl, I really hate having those old people in my class. They just don't shut up. This one woman, she just keeps asking questions and asking questions. And the girl, and they're a couple, and the girl says to him, real quietly, I like them. And, you know, from behind, I don't know if I look old or not, but from behind, and then literally like right behind me. And I'm thinking to myself, what? And so she says, I like them. I like their questions. They make me think about things. And he's not even listening to her. He's going in, those old people, and they make us stay after. And she's like, but she's like talking down here and he's up here. And I went, okay, that couple's not staying together. but I thought to myself, and I thought, I wonder if that's how, because I ask questions, lots and lots of questions, because that's my money I'm spending. If I haven't paid for it, I'm gonna pay for it. That's my future, my investment. I have to know this material. They're gonna want me to do it on a test. I probably will end up needing to use it in life. So from my perspective, I ask all those questions. But I also bring perspectives from things that I've seen through life. It's not just words. It's not just a statement. I have an idea that it relates to, and I think that helps the younger people who haven't had that experience to remember the material. So I think that I'm an asset to the class. I'm sure there's people that think that I'm not, but in my mind, it's not about them. It's about me. I'm here for me, and I hope they're there for them too, but I'm not going to let because I thought about that, because I used to be like you, and I was like, somebody said something like that on campus, I'd be going, is he talking about me? Is he saying this behind my back because he wants me to leave? I went, no, don't let that stop you. Don't let anything stop you.
I started college, the very first semester that my 18-year-old son started college, because it was more of a challenge, because I was telling him to do good and make it, an important part of your life, and he says, well, how do you know? You've never went to school. So that was my challenge, to go show him that I could do it and I could make good grades. And my very first grade, an A that I got, I was very excited about, and I went home and told him that, I got the highest grade in the class, and he looks at me and he goes, you're one of those. And it was kind of discouraging, because I was so excited about thinking that he would be proud of me, and then he's like, you're one of those, like a grade setter, and that kind of thing.
Set the curve.
Of course, he failed out his first semester and I didn't, so.
And I think non-traditional students and first generation have so many positive attributes. I know we've been talking a lot about challenges and how to cope with those things, and I'm glad that the two of you brought up the positives, because you are more invested in your education. And you're probably going to get more out of it because you're not just memorizing facts to spit them back out on a test. You're thinking about them, you're learning about them, you're trying to apply them to real life because you're looking at what's beyond college instead of what's here at the moment. What do I have to do to get through this class so I can go on and do whatever else I need to do? And so I think that's great.
They'll usually want to pick you when it's a group project.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I always walk into a classroom and pick the oldest person there because I think, I don't want some young kid benefiting from all my work.
And I was in my 20s when I went back as a non-traditional student, and I would say that I'm better now. I'm a shy person. I think when I started, I know, I'm not so much
5 years,
anymore.
I've never known this.
I used to be shy, quiet. I sat back in the classroom because I didn't want anybody sitting behind me because they were looking at me. And I always was so happy when the older students were asking those questions that I wanted to ask so bad. I was just like, I ain't gonna ask it. I'm not raising my hand. And then that was when, as I went through school, I'm more open to everything. But I would say, yeah, it's just, don't be afraid of it. It's a positive experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. Do I want my kids to go through the same thing? Obviously not. I don't want them to struggle like I did. But I at least showed them in a positive aspect that it can be done.
But I don't think younger kids have to struggle that much because they don't understand the challenges of life yet, so, and they can't cope with that like we can, so.
Any other thoughts from the panel or questions from the audience?
I'll just tell you, if you go into graduate school, when I was in graduate school, we were all working. You know what I mean? It seemed like everybody at that point was working, and it was a lot of fun. Everybody asked questions. Everybody was loud. Everybody bothered the teacher. So it wasn't like, and if there was, we outnumbered those who didn't. You know what I mean? So it was that was kind of fun. We all
Yeah,
just
grad
had a
school
good
is a
time.
totally different.
Yeah,
Totally different.
Yeah, definitely. You're more
That's good to
invested.
know, actually, that's very good to know, because I've been feeling very sort of intimidated, trying to decide if I'm gonna do this or not, you know?
It's a lot
No, there was
better.
a lot of
It's a lot more laid back and fun, and
Okay.
work. I didn't finish, so, but.
And I
It's a lot of
I think we
work.
spent more time answering questions about an assignment sometimes than just because we wanted to understand what the professor was wanting or the teacher was wanting us to do. And so I would ask more questions, or everybody else would ask more questions. It was more of an open forum
Yeah.
of people coming together. There wasn't the judgmental of this or that. We did have some, I guess, younger, not really, yeah.
But for the most
But
part,
for the most part, everybody was
working.
professional, everybody had worked in the, got their degree and was going back to school for their master's, so it was a different atmosphere, completely different than undergrad.
And once you pick your master's area, it's gonna be an area that you wanna learn about, and so it's really interesting, not that they can make a textbook interesting, but, it's better than just your social studies and history and math.
Well,
And
it takes you 2 years
And
to
working.
get, but it takes you 2 years in undergrad to get to those classes you actually want to take.
And I think when I started my master's program, one of the first classes I took, and I think Sean and I talked about this, it was Social Work Practice 1, and I thought, oh, this is why we do this.
Yeah,
Because I've been working at my
reinforced
job
what
at
you do.
Children's Division, and I was like, why are we doing a genogram? Why are we doing these things? I'm someone that needs to know the purpose of things. And so once I started taking that class, it was like, oh, all these light bulbs went off, and I was like, wow, now I know why I'm doing the things that I do.
Kind of inspires you a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we probably should end here because I think we are out of time, but I would like to thank our guest panel for coming and our audience as well. And if you would please fill out the post-test and the evaluation and turn those in before you leave. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.